what's going on, everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about the best cruise ship stocks, which ones I like, which ones I don't like, and there's one in particular that I like more than the rest. Now we have the three main cruise ship stocks here: Royal Caribbean, Norwegian Cruise Line, and Carnival. They've all taken a very big hit, and the further economic concerns didn't help with that. Now we have a pretty similar situation than what we had with the airline stocks, where right now their business is somewhat at a standstill. And I actually covered airline stocks and oil stocks, so you might want to check out those videos as well to give you a better idea of my thoughts on that. But for cruise ship stocks, right, I think for now, definitely we're seeing very much a standstill. But these are, some of them at least, are very good companies that if things open back up, should be able to make a pretty swift recovery. And that would obviously be the best case scenario, right? The absolute ideal scenario is that things open back up and that we get some sort of V-shaped bounce where we very quickly recover, maybe not to exactly where we were at before, but to a similar level, right? So for Royal Caribbean, for example, it would be getting, at least initially back above $50, right? And then starting to head more towards $65. And that can happen pretty quickly. So I think that the opportunity is there. These are stocks that do tend to pay dividends. Of course, right now their dividends are cut, but in the future, that's another thing that's really good with the stocks, just like the airline stocks, right? These are dividend-paying stocks typically when times are good. So the top performer today, at least, was Royal Caribbean, and really all of them bounced pretty significantly today, right? Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the more in-depth charts, because I'm going to be covering every one of these stocks in a more in-depth manner, so you really get an idea of what I'm talking about. And actually, right before we do that, just wanted to show you a brief overview of all three of these stocks on the actual Google chart, just because it's a really nice, clean chart, and you're going to get to see, kind of the history of the chart and how these stocks typically perform, right? This is something that I like to do, is just see how often have these stocks had dips, how do they tend to recover, etc., right? So, for example, back in 2008, we had a V-shaped bounce here, which was relatively fast, right? However, back here in 2000, we had kind of this prolonged drop where we spent a couple years, pretty low price and then bounced back. So a little bit more of a U-shaped bounce there. But after 2008, the stock has been, at least for Royal Caribbean, has been very, very good and went up just slowly but surely over time. I should really say, fastly but surely, because we had a over 1,000% increase here after the 2008 drop. So very nice move for Royal Caribbean, and you have to keep in mind we're at a massive discount, right? We're over 70% drop right now. So that is something that you're not going to find often in companies that are, the big names of their industry, right? Next, let's take a look at Norwegian Cruise Line, and then finally we'll take a look at Carnival. So Norwegian Cruise Line, let's take a look at the chart here. Overall, we've got a, pretty stable, slow but steady upward moving chart, historically speaking. And now this chart isn't going back until 2008, right? So they weren't traded, I guess, publicly before 2013. So we don't have as much history, which is something that's important, right? I like to see when we can look back at how these stocks have recovered in past bear markets. But here we have an even bigger drop of, 80-85%. And obviously that allows for some very big upside returns, right? I mean, getting back to where we were at before would bring us all the way back to $50, so basically a 500% increase here. And that's actually going to be a pretty typical number. It's pretty similar for, we've got some similar percentage increase potentials for Royal Caribbean, where we're looking probably more now at a, I guess, 300% increase if we were to get back to the all-time highs. You have to keep in mind that Royal Caribbean did already bounce, almost over 100% since its low here. So it bounced pretty fast. But still, very good percentage returns nonetheless. And I like the fact that this chart has been stable. That is a good sign. Now we need to look forward and see, okay, how can we start recovering? And we're going to look at that on the more detailed chart in just a second as well. Let's head over to Carnival here for the third one on the list. Now, Carnival, great history, right? This has been the longest standing one, just went up over time, pretty fast recovery from all its drops, but it really took a big hit here on this most recent drop, right? About an 85% drop as well. So got hit very hard, and might say that it's surprising. I mean, it had sort of a similar experience back here in 2005 where it fell, you know, about 60%, but we had that recovery, right? So you really have to keep in mind, that's what we're looking for, is that the recovery potential here. All of these are going to be higher risk, higher reward plays, but considering the fact that you're getting in on these, like I said, the big brand name stocks and companies of the industry, that lessens a bit of that risk while still providing that really high reward potential. So afterwards, that's just a personal decision if you want to make a play like this or not. None of these videos are financial advice, just my personal opinion. Now, let's look at the more in-depth chart here for Royal Caribbean. The first thing that I'm going to point out, just to get it out of the way, is we have two open gaps. These gaps right here and over here are when the price opened the next day lower than where it closed the previous day. And these are called gaps, right? Open gaps, because they haven't been filled in yet. Now, I've talked about this before. If you don't know what gaps are, I highly recommend you check out my technical analysis master course. This is a key thing in technical analysis for stocks. I go over it in this course in an entire video. The course is less than $20 and comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you've got nothing to lose by giving it a try. Actually, if you go to my Twitter, I still have a discount code here for getting it 25% off. So take advantage of it, you know, learn what gaps are and how you can use that in your trading. So the idea is that the price has to come back higher now to fill in these gaps, right? And for example, we can have a lot of things that could happen. We could pretty quickly come back, fill this gap, then drop back lower again, and then, you know, 2 years later come and close this gap. So we don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but the most likely scenario, right, almost every time, is that these gaps are going to get filled. If I had to guess, I'd say that we're going to pretty quickly come and close this gap over here near $60. And in fact, I actually think that we really might be able to get a pretty quick bounce all the way back to this resistance level right here at $90. So, and I think we might be able to get a pretty quick bounce to this resistance level here at $65. So that would work just in line with this bounce to the open gap area, right? We would probably get above $60, then move up to $65 before facing our more serious bit of resistance. And after that, right, we have a next resistance level at $90. So that one might take a little bit more time to get to, but this gap at $60 and that $65 resistance level, we could get there within the next 2 weeks, right? This could be a very, very quick bounce. Especially that we have the RSI curving back up. We're just about to get back above the 30 line on the RSI. If we do, that's going to be very bullish. And as far as the MACD, we're curling back up as well. So good sign there. We are very low on the Bollinger Band range, right? Typically for bounces like this, you get up back to the white Bollinger Band. So of course here it's going to be hard to do that because the stock took such a hit. But getting back already to this yellow trend line, yellow moving average, that's going to be very fast, right? And like I said, I'm really looking at that $65 area for the price to head next, and pretty quickly within the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks at the most, to be honest. I think this is going to be a very fast bounce. At the very, very most, about a month, but I don't see it going on longer than that before we close that gap. Afterwards, we may see some consolidation in this range, but I'm not too worried about it either way, right? What's important is that we start, you know, getting some stability and not heading lower, right? We don't want to go below $20. That's the key thing here for Royal Caribbean. So overall, very nice opportunity in my opinion for this stock, and just all around, I think it is probably the best. As far as the previous chart history and everything, I like it the most. So let's go ahead and take a look at Norwegian Cruise Line. Also looking pretty good here. A little bit slower on the RSI, but it's coming back up. This one might take just an extra day or two to get back a little bit higher than Royal Caribbean. But we also got those two gaps, so very similar story. And we're going to be looking for initially a bounce back above $20, getting to this yellow moving average, and then really closing the gap here at $26. So stock should be back above $20 very shortly here. Like I said, probably in the next month. And I mean, that's a 100% increase if that happens, even an over 100% increase. So even if it takes a little bit longer than months, right? Even if it takes 3 months, I mean, that's a huge, huge increase for that time, right? So it's still a very good opportunity either way. And yeah, I mean, you can see it on the chart, right? We got this gap. The gap needs to be filled. Not much else to say other than this needs to happen sooner rather than later, and I think it will happen sooner rather than later. So probably heading back to $25 here pretty shortly, within the next 3 months at the most, I think. And finally, let's go ahead and take a look at Carnival. So I'm going to go back to the weekly time frame here. The one thing that I should point out for all of these charts is on the daily time frame, we have a pretty tight Bollinger Band formation, so we may have a bit of consolidation, but then again, if we get a faster V-shaped bounce, we could also end up getting past that pretty quickly. So it's something to keep in mind. Once again, we have our gaps here, so that is going to be key once again. And going back to the weekly time frame here, what we're going to see is, same story, right? Now, this actually provides a pretty nice opportunity. If we look at where our next big resistance level is at for Carnival, it's almost at $30. So that would be a 300% increase potential here for Carnival. Of course, that $20 area is going to be resistance as well, and even a little bit of resistance around $15. So we've got a few resistance levels here that maybe the two other stocks that I covered don't have. I'm not too worried about it. I think we can get back above $20 pretty easily here and then just start making our way onwards towards $30. That could take, a full year to get to $30, I think. But in the next 6 months, I feel like we have a very nice chance at being back above $20 already. A little bit slower here once again on the MACD, so a little bit more time maybe of consolidation before we start seeing the stock price head higher again. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Make sure to give this video a like and subscribe for more. Turn on those bell notifications so you stay updated when I post videos. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and, take a look at my discount that I have going on in my course there to get it 25% off and learn technical analysis. 30-day money-back guarantee. Try it risk-free. Link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.